Legal processes are inherently stressful. And when someone has past trauma, or when they have unique vulnerabilities, which we all do, the legal process can intensify maybe feelings of powerlessness or feelings of anger. And that really impacts the way that we engage with our clients, with our colleagues, with the system.
Raheena, it's great to be with you today. And you are a lawyer, a mediator, and a professor in alternative dispute resolution. And quite a few years ago now, we were called to the bar together at Gray's Inn.
That's right. And it's really great to be here with you, combining our work on trauma-informed law. It's such an important part of how we practice well and practice competently.
And something I wanted to talk about is how, across all practice areas, trauma can still shape what happens in the room.
Yes.
And that might be because we all carry stories with us. Barristers, clients, we carry those stories into the rooms that we're negotiating in, the conference rooms, the courtrooms, and they affect how we present evidence, how we receive evidence, and how we respond under pressure.
Yes, and legal processes are inherently stressful. And when someone has past trauma, or when they have unique vulnerabilities, which we all do, the legal process can intensify maybe feelings of powerlessness or feelings of anger. And that really impacts the way that we engage with our clients, with our colleagues, with the system.
And with those trauma-informed skills, they can help us to respond effectively to what we're seeing, to those intensified responses. So when a witness maybe pulls away, or when a client reacts in a way that we think might be disproportionate, or maybe when we notice ourselves moving into overwhelm, instead of reacting, we can respond with intention and skill.
Absolutely. You know, it's not about whether trauma is present in the room. It's about how we respond to what comes up in front of us. That's what makes us trauma-informed professionals.
So for us, trauma-informed practice starts with an understanding of the nervous system.
Yes.
So thinking about the nervous system when it's in a regulated state, that's when we have access to core functions like reasoning, our focus, and our capacity to connect empathetically with others. And then if we think about when our nervous system is in a dysregulated state, and that's when we're responding to a threat or some stress, those functions, they start to go offline.
Yes, absolutely. And another really important part of our field that is impacted by trauma is memory. So memory impacts just about everything we do, from the time our solicitor first takes a witness statement all the way through to how we choose to ask questions. That's impacted by memory. But here's the thing. When trauma is present, memory doesn't always encode properly. So memories can be blurred, or sometimes a witness will be telling a story in a manner that seems incomprehensible. Or maybe they'll tell something, they'll tell us a story about the past, but in the present tense. These are telltale signs that trauma's at play.
So another aspect that travels across all practice areas is the relational.
Yes.
And we can talk about this for hours. And I know it's a particular area of expertise for you.
Well, yes, that's right, because attachment and trauma go hand in hand. So what do I mean by this? Well, attachment is about the relational story that we carry around with us in parts of our mind that we're not always aware of. And it plays itself out in behavior every day, and particularly in our field. So maybe there's a client who insists that they understand your advice, and they tell you they want to follow it, and then they go completely against it. I think a lot of us have been there. Or maybe it's the colleague who says that they are going to speak up in this meeting and that something's really quite important, and then they don't. And it could be someone behaving in just something that seems like an egregious manner. What's happening here? They're carrying these relational scripts with them into their everyday behavior. Now you pair those relational scripts with trauma, and suddenly behavior that seemed unreasonable, seemed incomprehensible, suddenly makes sense.
And that's so important, that we start to be able to make sense of it, that we start to be able to identify these adaptive patterns. And it's not just about that initial understanding, it's about ongoing reflection and support in this, because adaptive patterns can change, including our own adaptive patterns.
That's right. And when we engage in self-reflection, that's trauma-informed practice. You can engage with the material once, but if you're not constantly touching base and reflecting and growing with it, then we're not bringing our best self or our trauma-informed self to the work.